Hey, I want to make a video in response to one of my first videos I made called How to Get Your Kids to Eat Healthy. In this video, I talk about the different strategies that we use and how we as parents should be making a healthy menu for our kids instead of our kids making the menu for themselves. So what I want to do today is just go into a few specific questions that I've gotten, and I've gotten quite a few really encouraging text messages, Facebook messages from some parents, some moms out there specifically, that have said we're using some of these techniques and they're really helping, and I'm so happy to hear that. So I just wanted to go in and spend a little bit more time talking about what we do if our kids refuse to eat what we've put out for them. So this has happened with our youngest, with Lily. She, as my husband says, is the smallest person in our house, but she has the biggest attitude of all the kids in our house. And it's true. She's had a lot going on. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, then you know that Lily had a broken leg. Her cast has just came off, and through that 6 weeks that she had a full leg and hip cast on, she had very little that was in her control. And one of the things that she really tried to show her defiance or her will in would definitely be at the dinner table. So we probably on 5 or 6 occasions told her, you know, if you're not going to eat what's on your plate at supper time, you're going to have this for breakfast in the morning. So we literally wrap it up, you guys. I mean, that's what we do. We take the plate, we put plastic wrap over it, we stick it in the refrigerator, and then the next morning, it's reserved. We've never had to reserve anything more than once. They will eat the food that second time. Unless you don't make them do it. Then they're not going to do it. And by saying make, I mean don't give them anything else. Like, you know, you can have cereal when you eat this. And she, a lot of it, I think, was not even the food that was being served. She just wanted to be defiant because she was aggravated. And while a lot of people would say, well, why didn't you just let her have her way? You know, a little bit of defiance can grow into like a huge amount of defiance. So it was the attitude of her heart that was the problem. It was just showing up in the food. Does that make sense? So one of the reasons that it's so important for us to have children that eat what is presented to them is that it's our job to give them things that are healthy. Kids can't make decisions on what's healthy. If you let kids eat what they want to, it would be cereal for breakfast, peanut butter and jelly for lunch, and I don't know, like donuts or something for supper. So, what are you saying?
The sugar out of the sugar bowl.
The sugar, oh yeah, my husband's reminded me. They'll just straight up go get sugar out of the sugar bowl if you leave it up to them, and then they'll wash it down with some apple juice. Oh yeah. So, you know, I had mostly positive comments, but I did have a handful of people that have said, you know, like, I can't believe you'd reserve food to your child if they didn't eat it the first time and things like that. Well, believe it, we're their parents. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to do the hard things. Parenting is hard work. Now, it's a whole other thing if you're a grandparent. If you're a grandparent, you know, hopefully you do have some respect for your kids and what they say is allowed with their children. You know, I thank God that I've got amazing in-laws. They do, you know, give our kids sweets and things like that, but they don't go overboard with it. And I'm really thankful for them. One of the other reasons that we want them to eat what they have is that, you know, it hasn't been too many years ago that a lot of people really lived in poverty. A lot of people ate what was grown in their own gardens. They ate things that they canned, and they ate dried beans. Every now and then when they slaughtered a cow, they got to have some meat. So let's not raise princes and princesses that won't know how to function if things ever get hard in their life. You know, My husband and I have worked really hard. We were married for about 13 years before we became parents. And financially, we're in a much better spot now than we would have been if we would have had children right off in our marriage. Our kids get to eat much what's higher on the hog than they would have if we'd had kids right away. We want them to be satisfied with pinto beans and cornbread. I mean, that's a Southern staple meal. We don't want for them to grow accustomed to always having the best cut of meat at the table, or, you know, the most pristine produce, or whatever it is. Of course, we want to buy healthy foods for our children, but, you know, there's going to be a time when they leave the nest, and they need to be okay with eating things that they can afford at that point in their life. So to raise well-rounded children, I think it's important to raise well-rounded eaters. We have friends that are on the mission field in Belize, and I can guarantee you if they were super picky eaters, they would be having a really hard time. We have some other friends that are missionaries in Ethiopia. They eat a lot of lentil-based food, if I remember correctly. They've told us that they have meat on special occasions like birthdays and holidays. So there are lots of people around the world that don't get to eat nearly as I say nearly as good, but, you know, a lot of our food is like so food-like, it's not even really food. So even a lot of people in poorer countries are probably getting even better nutrients than we are in their diets. But, you know, it's important. It's one of those things that's a hard thing to do sometimes, but it's worth it. I don't think I'll ever look back on my life and say, you know, I really regret that my kids were well-rounded, healthy eaters. Nobody's going to say that. That's like saying you wish you wouldn't have taught them to do something. Like, that's just crazy. So I just want to encourage all of you parents that are, you know, sticking with healthy foods, sticking with not letting your kids waste food. We have such, oh my goodness, there's so much waste in our country. But there's not a lot of waste at our family from our dinner table, I'll tell you that. Because you're going to start off with small portions. That's another thing. If you want to have less waste, if you want to be throwing away less food or reheating less food, give your kids smaller portions. Give them a small portion of each food. So I'll just kind of reiterate some of this. Give them a portion of each thing that you're serving. For most people, that's going to be a meat, a starch, and a veggie. Give them a small portion of each one. When they've eaten all of it, including their vegetables or their meat or whatever it is, then they can have more. But stop giving them more of their favorite thing and throwing food away. It's so wasteful. So let's be parents. Let's be a generation of parents that teaches their children to eat well, not to be wasteful, and to be grateful. Okay? Let's be grateful. Y'all just keep on keeping on at the dinner table. You know, these years they're going to go by quickly. I don't want to rush their childhood, but it'll be nice when they're a little bit older and there's less chaos at the dinner table. When you've got 2 toddlers and a 4-year-old and a nearly 7-year-old, it's hard sometimes. It would be so easy to give in. It would be so easy to make a peanut butter and jelly or order pizza or give them some salty, fatty food that their brain goes, oh, it's so good. I want to teach them that fruits and veggies are good. So anyway, just want to let you know that if you like this video, you can find more videos like it on YouTube at Monica Says, Instagram official Monica Says, and Facebook Monica Says. It's really important for me to get those subscriptions, likes, and shares on my video. So if you like this and you want to see more or you want to help support this channel, please do so. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.